It's the award-winning, often duplicated, but seldom replicated Fifth Mascot. Welcome. We're live again on WCPO.com, and I'm the first to admit that the man who has breathed new life, not only into this show, but into your Cincinnati Reds, is P.J. O'Keefe. You believed
I did.
when all of us doubted.
I did, and I'm glad that you admitted that right off the top.
It takes
I'm
a big
glad you
man
did.
to be a big man.
You know, I wasn't just being positive for the sake of being positive, not just an optimistic guy. I see some things in this team, I think everybody does after the last week or so. They can hit when the team comes together and it's healthy. That theme, right? That keeps coming back. Joey Votto looks good.
Does look good. And I think putting Frazier in the two-hole, I think that was genius. Now if they can just figure out a way to jumpstart Jay Bruce, they may really have something going here.
Yeah, he's sort of the missing piece that we'll get to, but there's been guys around him that have been picking up the slack. We've known the Devin Mesoraco theme all year. He's evening out at a good average. A guy we'll talk about in just a minute here, Billy Hamilton, stepped it up. So yes, 6 out of 7 wins. We're at 500.
Unbelievable.
We're at 500.
Unbelievable.
We are at 500. It's not even, hasn't even set in yet.
With a huge series with the Blue Jays coming in, and if not the National League Central Division race, where the Reds are 6.5 back as we speak,
yes.
Let's go to the wild card race. Because right now in the wild card race, if you look at it, now again, there are teams that the Reds have to jump over and above. They're only 3 games back.
Right, and totally doable, right? I mean, the Dodgers are a great team. The Cardinals, we know, are always going to be a good team, and I'd like to think they'll end up at the top of the NL Central, and we proved this week we can beat the Brewers. Miami, how long can that last, honestly? And Atlanta's got a good couple of teams, but I do think 3 games out, and you're only halfway through June. This is looking good.
So they win 6 out of 7. They're hitting close to 300 as a team over the last 7 days.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Todd Frazier. I mean, here's a guy that last year, he had decent power numbers. He had 19 home runs and 77 RBI. He did not hit for average.
No.
But he's hitting for power and for average right now. I heard him say this week that he spent some time with Don Long when the team was in Pittsburgh the first time this year, and the two of them got busy as to what needed to be done to jumpstart him, and apparently they figured it out.
And that's great, and not just, you know, consistently stats-wise either. Frazier continues to be a guy who gets hits at the right time and boosts this team. That home run against Pittsburgh in the 9th was just that. So Billy Hamilton, I alluded to earlier.
Unbelievable.
He's the other guy. He's been at the top of the lineup, and he's acting like a leadoff hitter.
He is, and what's amazing is he's not just hitting; he's hitting for power.
Yeah.
I mean, home runs, doubles. He had another double on Thursday in the getaway game against Pittsburgh.
Unbelievable.
I mean, it's amazing what he's doing. So he's not just a one-trick pony. Look at 3 home runs, 400 batting average, 10 RBI. And 5 stolen bases over the last 10 games. Now, I'm going to say something here, and you're going to laugh at me.
Probably.
But if you're picking the All-Star team, and this keeps up for the next 3 weeks, you're looking at a guy that can completely change the scope of things. Remember in 1988, they chose Sabo?
Yeah.
And Whitey Herzog put Sabo into pinch run? Why couldn't you select Hamilton and put him into pinch run? Don't grimace at me. You're the one that got us this far.
I'm happy that Billy is performing as high as he is, and I think it's way above expectations. It really is. And part of it is too, teams just haven't scouted for him in the way they're pitching to him. I mean, they think he's this speed guy who can't quite get his bat around and pull balls. And all of his home runs that I've seen have just been straight line drives. Basically, he's scaling the fence by just a few feet, which is great and it's effective. But once that word gets out, and I think it will be out very soon, this is not the Billy Hamilton you're going to see. And I've expressed my skepticism on Mr. Hamilton as far as a consistent year-long player. Is this just a great month, kind of like how Jay Bruce performs in most Mays?
Could be.
I don't think that's all-star material.
But he had a couple of bunts the other night. He knocked Marty Brenneman off his socks.
He did.
So, I mean, but I don't know. Now, the guy that really and truly has been, to me, the big enigma is Ryan Ludwig. He loses his starting job 2 weeks ago, and he comes back, and now he's hitting again.
Yep.
I mean, we knew he was a streaky guy when the Reds signed him. Apparently, he's living up to that, but I mean, .419 batting average last 10 games. I mean, I'll take that.
Now, I got to hold you accountable for this.
What's
Mr.
that?
Brew, last week when we gave our lineups,
yes,
you didn't have Ryan Ludwig on.
No, I didn't.
Now,
I was not a believer.
I understand.
I just was not a believer.
For all the reasons that you just mentioned, the inconsistency, sort of the enigma, that's a good way to put it.
Thank you.
But the numbers speak for themselves. Check it out. .419 batting average last 10 games. He's practically led the team with runners in scoring position all year long. Is his age a factor? Yes.
Sure.
Does he need a break?
Shoulder's probably still a factor.
You're right. So you got to look at Luddy, and
Luddy, that's what we're calling him.
I think it's a good nickname.
You're calling him Luddy?
For Luddy? I like Luddy. I don't know him personally, but I've seen him speak in front of many other people.
Here's the problem with Ludwig in the lineup, and I know he's hitting well right now, but I think the catalyst, frankly, is
Marty. He's getting excited.
How are we looking? I think the catalyst really is Skip Schumacher. And if you have Ludwig in the lineup, you cannot have Schumacher in there. Can they go back to what they had a few years ago? When they had, remember they had the platoon in left field, they had Johnny Gomes and then one of Lance Nix. Was it Lance Nix? Is that one of the Nix guys?
I think he was.
Can they go back to something like that, do you think?
Look at the upside. What's the upside of Schumacher long term? I mean, yeah, he's going to be he's got a good eye at the plate. He's a fastball hitter. So where he is in the lineup is going to be sort of telling to how that works. I think if you have Frazier at number 2, I don't know that it fits to have Schumacher at number 6 or 7. Because he's not going to see the same kind of pitches to protect against the guys behind him. I just don't. I can't see the upside to Skip. I'd rather skip that.
You're really good with it, by the way.
Well, I've had practice.
Did you throw left-handed as a kid, or you just catch right-handed?
I'm ambidextrous.
I get my right arm to be that.
That's a lie.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the Reds' rotation, because last night Alfredo Simon wins his 10th of the year. Now, I'll say this: that's an all-star.
Yes.
Right now, if you're picking he might start for the National League.
But very possible.
That's he's an all-star. But you now have Latos back in the lineup. Cingrani, which was just stupid. They put him in the bullpen. They didn't send him back to Louisville. But they've got a great rotation now, I think. And if everybody, again, stays healthy, here we are going forward with the rotation that everybody thought they would have in the spring.
Well, I don't think anybody thought that Alfredo Simon. You did.
I did. In fact, I said so.
I don't doubt you.
First show that we did here, you can go back and cue it up. I said Alfredo Simon will win 10 games and be going to the All-Star break.
Well, and I think the concern was when you went into it later, you said, "Isn't his arm going to fall off?"
Well,
and I agreed with you at the time because he hasn't been tested in quite a few years at this.
They showed him today. It was like hanging like that.
Knuckles
were dragging on the.
Yeah, that's probably not good for curveballs.
No,
and it's great. The starting rotation at 3.43 ERA. As of the middle of this week. That's 5th in the NL. Yeah. It's only getting better. Our bullpen has always been the issue, right? The starters were always one of those things that, you're right, regardless of whether Simon's a surprise or not, which, all the credit to you, we knew it was going to have a good 5 guys who would step onto the mound every game and perform.
Cingrani was a disappointment.
Yes, and you know what? With the way the bullpen's been performing, you can't say it's an incredibly bad thing to stick him back there.
No.
We need a lefty. Sean Marshall can't perform.
This dude's a starting pitcher. You're going to send him into the bullpen to play, to pitch like a couple innings here, a couple innings there. He should go down. There's got to be somebody that's not a gasoline can in Louisville or in Pensacola that they can bring up here and get you an out. Because that's what you're looking at right now.
We haven't proved that. The Reds even released Carlos Marmol.
What?
Which is, I know, very, very outstanding news. Marty is getting very excited today. I really don't think there are guys in the minor leagues that we can pull up because Cingrani can hurl a couple of innings, and when you get a mixture of pitches throughout the game, Simon's not a gas guy. So what happens if you peg Cingrani back off of him, and all of a sudden you have someone attacking you for an inning or two?
But still, in all, I mean, if you're looking long term, I don't think you want this guy in your bullpen. I don't think it helps him.
I think we can look to the trade deadline when we get closer. We'll talk more about that right here on the Fifth Mascot.
Might pick up Danny Graves.
It's summertime, and that means baseball.
Well,
yeah. It's officially coming up
know.
soon here on the 22nd.
Yeah.
I just thought that our audience should know that.
Good.
With baseball in the summertime comes, of course, vacations.
Right. And loose clothing.
Absolutely, bikinis.
Or a lot of loose clothing.
Yeah, you got to make sure you don't sweat. Well, one guy that does sweat and doesn't abide by the loose clothing rule is our compadre, Mr. Satin.
Yes.
He was on vacation this week. And,
yes. He had cabin fever?
Reds fever.
Reds cabin fever.
Let's go find him.
Hey, what's happening? It's Mr. Satin for the Fifth Mascot. We're up here in the middle of nowhere. We're on a streak. We're looking for my buddy Steve. Cabin fever. Let's go meet Steve.
Here you can find me here.
The guy in the corner said go that way. Where's Steve at? Reds hat. Reds are on a streak right now. I know you're a big Reds fan. You got your own little streak going on. What the hell's going on up here?
Well, to be honest, I get a little frustrated sometimes, so I come here just to escape.
That's a good place to bury a body. That's a great place to, hang up some meat hooks and forget about all those worries.
Are you relaxed? You look a little warm in that chair.
I tell you what, it's hot as balls up here. Mr. Satin is officially hot at the cabin in the middle of June.
You smell good.
I do?
Yeah.
Give it a few hours.
Watch that raccoon though, he's got rabies.
You got all kind of ducks running around and feral cats.
Rabies.
What I heard?
You alright?
I just swallowed some sort of... God, the bugs are all in my throat. Why'd you come up to this place anyway? I thought I was going to get away. All I got is, bug bites, and I got to go get a tetanus shot.
Hey, you know who needs a tetanus shot? Cardinals.
Cardinals need a big one. Pretty sure the Cardinals have the best ERA for pitching staff right now, starting pitching, but Reds are on our way up.
Yep.
We're looking solid now. This is a good getaway to kind of, forget about all the pains of the past and look forward past the streak and get excited up here, right?
Yeah. They're on a winning streak. I'm afraid to go home because I don't want to mess that up.
I don't want to go home either. This is a pretty killer place.
You want to go fishing?
Let's go fishing.
Go fishing.
Go Reds!
Mr. Satin, back from the wilderness, joins us. The only thing
yes.
missing from that piece was dueling banjos.
Well, you could hear them off in the distance in the evenings. That's when it was time to hide.
Some place like that, I'm looking for Ned Beatty.
Right. Was that even a pond or a lake or a holding water?
Where was that?
Like, what is that?
That's a pay lake.
Pay lake.
It really was. It was
Got
great.
it. Got it.
Great.
Fish were about.
But so you did catch some then. Mr. Satin is a fisherman.
I got the satin.
Noodling.
It's a little wet.
Noodling.
A little
They call that noodling.
But a fish this big trying to noodle it, it's you punch through.
Yeah.
So it's
Okay. Little pinky catch.
Some noodling, perhaps some spooning. We don't know.
Yeah.
But
Whoa,
the
no
Reds,
judge.
the
Leave it there.
The Reds are on a streak, Mr. Satin.
Yes.
man,
You leave town and they start playing well.
I know. I was afraid to come back.
Yeah, explain yourself.
I tell you what, man. These Reds are killing it. I can't wait to get back and talk to some more fans about this stuff. But you know what? This is what we needed. I've been calling for this.
I know you have.
You guys got my back on this. I've been
we do.
calling for this
Absolutely.
all year. When, like you guys said, hey, we got life. We're ready.
And Billy Hamilton.
You had him exclusively in your lineup.
Right. He was
Yeah,
batting
yeah.
like fourth, eighth.
His bat
Second.
speed, everything. He always got to get up there and smile, put the bat out there. He's on third.
Yeah,
I love it.
You know what? The other thing about Hamilton we didn't touch on is he's getting bunts now for hits. Now, I know he was doing that earlier.
Yeah.
He's getting drag bunts, push bunts, everything for hits. I honestly, he could be an all-star. I said he might be an all-star.
I like that pick. I really do. Why not stick him on the bench late, ninth inning? Somebody needs pinch hit.
Yeah.
Pinch runner.
Right.
That
'Cause that's
could be one way, but you don't get all stars just to steal.
I'll
Yeah,
take
you
that
do.
because
No,
you know
you
what?
do.
We
Sure.
want to play the World Series. We want home field advantage.
That's right.
We want that.
Yeah, you
I
get
think-
guys like Dave Robinson
I
for the
think-
Boston Red Sox back in the day. Those are guys that steal bases for a living, but he didn't make the All-Star game. So
Okay.
let's watch
All right,
it,
let's-
gentlemen.
Major league team.
Now I want an instant replay of you chasing around those ducks.
I mean, I don't know if there's
Slow
enough
motion.
room. I don't know if there's
You-
enough room in the studio.
You caught one of those, you wouldn't know what to do with it.
These things I was chasing around, and it got a little crazy.
Well, and that's what instant replay has sometimes looked like in the MLB this year.
Did you guys see the Wednesday night game when they had the play at the plate and the Reds got a run out of it, but Russell Martin was called for obstruction? Now, here's my problem with this. There's nothing else that Russell Martin could have done. The bases were loaded. It was a force play. You have to have your foot on the bat.
Right.
So what you're saying is he has to catch the ball and then put his foot on the plate, which runs countercurrent to the way baseball has been played since 1869.
Yeah, and I think it's a subconscious thing. At least how these kids were raised to play baseball like that. There's
no
nothing
other
else
way
you
to
can
play
do.
to make that play happen.
Exactly. I was actually in a softball game on Friday night, and we had a Jerome Simpson type situation, which was ruled legal, and so we scored the run.
Wow.
But I'm glad that didn't
It
happen.
wasn't that delivery to his apartment, was it?
No, it wasn't.
Okay. You said Jerome Simpson's situation. You better clarify that.
Yeah, right. That's
The
why I
game
think
has changed.
That,
The game
that
has
call,
changed.
that call in particular was tough. I mean, it's just a new rule. Everybody's getting used to it. Even though it went in the Reds' favor.
I don't agree. I think they stole a run, but the scary part is, it wasn't the crew on the field that made it. It was some dude in New York who has to know that there's no other way to make that to make that play.
Who are they hiring in New York, anyways?
Buster Posey, apparently.
Oh, wow.
Well, here's to play a little devil's advocate. 45% of the time, umps are wrong.
How do you know this?
I just learned how to read.
Well, that's great news.
Internet taught me how to read.
That's great news, Mr.
Oh,
Sad.
45%
internet
of the time.
kids, internet.
Wait a minute.
45. Look it up. You guys got that access right there.
The internet, they call that, which is what we're on.
I'm telling you.
45%.
It works every time. Okay.
God.
You know what? I'll be honest with you. I think instant replay is okay, but on that particular play we're talking about, it took 5.5 minutes from the time Brian Price stuck his nose out of the dugout until they ruled safe. That's ridiculous, particularly for a sport that's trying to cut down the length of game.
Yeah, and I've been reading a bunch of stats throughout the year, and the length of games is getting longer and longer as the season goes on. You know, an average game last year was somewhere around 257, right around the 3-hour mark.
Guys.
And this year it's 3 hours and 12 minutes. You know, it's like making a cell phone call with bad LTE in the stadium already to New York and trying to figure it out. It's just not worth it in many ways.
I don't think there's a damn thing going on there except they're listening to Bon Jovi.
Yeah, it's a chance for people to go get a hot dog, maybe a beer.
Well,
you tip one back. So we said, I like that.
Yeah.
Well, and just
why don't you bring some of those next week?
Actually, we appreciate it.
I should.
I think it's you have to have technology in place because let's face it, we live in an age, if you haven't noticed this, that there's a lot of this stuff that allows instantaneous looks from different angles, but not that.
Well, and
not to that length.
The World Cup's a great example. You know, they're using this play is happening. The goal line technology. When they score a goal,
soccer, we're talking soccer.
We're talking. Hey, it's
Baseball
appropriate. The World Cup right now. It's the U.S.
Well, of course, they could have instant replay. Nobody scores in soccer.
Yeah, 3 or 4 times a week. No, so there is that active. You know, you're looking at it as people are returning to play, and it takes all of 15 seconds, just like tennis. Tennis uses line technology that is very fast. It's easy to get across. There are better ways to set this up than it is currently. But you know what? It didn't matter because the Reds won 11-4.
Let's talk about Johnny Vandermeer. We had another no-hitter this week. Clayton Kershaw. What do you have? 15 strikeouts?
He is a maestro.
Crazy. Should have been a perfect game.
So that's 2 because Beckett had them.
Josh Beckett, yes.
Yeah, for them earlier this season. Now, we all know around here the only pitcher to throw back-to-back no-hitters is former Cincinnati Red Johnny Vandermeer. I think of all the records in baseball, and that's Rose's consecutive game hitting streak, which was 44 in the National League, DiMaggio's 56. I think this is probably the toughest thing to do because you're so dependent on the 8 other guys in the field. I don't think this will ever be duplicated.
And dependent on the 8 other guys in the lineup, in particular in the National League. There is a little bit of disparity when you look at the rosters of some of these MLB teams. If you end up with an Astros game, you know, 1 rotation, and then suddenly you get back to them on another homestand, it's really not that out of the realm of possibility with the way some teams are hitting. And as we've mentioned in a couple episodes before on the Fifth Mascot, runs overall in the major leagues are down this year, way down. It's not just the Reds.
Right.
This league-wide, it's some of the lowest scoring in about 25 years. So it's not an untouchable feat, especially with the way some guys are pitching, like Clayton Kershaw.
I actually, when I worked in Tampa, interviewed Johnny Vandermeer. He lived in Tampa in his later years. His family room had above the couch was a giant black and white blow-up of the final out of his second no-hitter, which was in Brooklyn.
That's cool.
Now, there was a 2.5-hour rain delay before that second no-hitter. Yeah. So he threw it, he's got to wait, and it was the first night game ever in Brooklyn Dodger history.
Wow.
So he's out there warming up. I'll remember exactly what he told me. He said, the thing you got to have when you throw a no-hitter is you got to have everybody behind you in perfect position for every play because you want to leave nothing to the discretion of the official score.
And you got to have stamina in that arm. I mean, these are not 90-pitch games when these guys do this. Well, and you know what, just back to the untouchableness of it, it almost happened. June 22nd, 1947.
Wow.
Red Turtle Ewell Blackwell lost his chance for a consecutive no-hitter. Dodger second baseman Eddie Stanky singled with 1 out in the 9th. So he was that close, 2 outs away from breaking that record. Yeah. Not, how many other years right nearby Vandermeer. I mean,
it is
crazy.
I remember the other thing that Vandermeer told me, and I'll never forget this for as long as I live. He said to me, "Don't touch that picture."
I can't blame him. I wouldn't touch anything at Johnny Vandermeer's house. Absolutely not.
Don't stare too deep into that photo.
All right, we got Toronto in here this weekend.
Toronto's a good team.
And then Toronto's the best power hitting
Most
team in
people
baseball.
don't know
Good
that.
challenge.
Most
Right.
people
Good
say,
challenge.
"Oh, Toronto, that'll
Jose
be good."
Bautista.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Encarnacion.
Edward Encarnacion.
There are some
guy.
legitimate sluggers on that team. So for those of you who see the Blue Jays on the calendar and say, no big deal, I won't go to this game, go,
There could
please
be 100
attend.
home runs this week.
And by the way, the Lego movie will be playing Saturday after the game. Don't mean to plug
are
Great
you
American
serious?
Ballpark, but the Lego
Hey.
movie will be on. So if you need one more reason
Why
to
is
go,
that?
I think it's a sponsor.
And if the
thing.
game's going to end like at 6:45, the sun's going to be out. How are
Uh,
they going to play a Lego movie?
Yeah.
I don't know, and I hope they sell
They're going to build the set.
drinks
out of Legos,
after.
kinda?
And then the Cubs, and then they
Yeah.
go west. So this is, again, a huge homestand, 3 games. The Cubs stink, but we know the Cubs always give the Reds trouble.
Yeah.
So.
And we're in a good place. We really are.
Yeah,
we're
in
in
air
a very
conditioning.
good
Oh,
place.
you mean, the Reds.
The Reds. Well, we're in a great place.
Yeah.
Well, we really are in a good place. I mean, we're halfway through June. We're at 500. We are every bit in this as any other team right now, which, you know what, 2 weeks ago, that was a little bit questionable as to whether 2 weeks from 2 weeks ago, you follow me? That
Yeah.
we would be in it.
Right.
There was some question.
I think if you get to July 4th and you're within 5 games of a division lead, you're in it. If you're within 5 games of division lead, chances are you're pretty close to the wild card. They're 3 back of the wild card. I think they have a major dilemma on their hands if this continues to the trade deadline because A, they have nothing to trade in their minor league system. It's a bucket of bolts. So B, you're probably going to take on contract is what you're going to take on. And if you want to go after a guy that can help you, it's going to cost you a lot of money.
And we'll talk more about that next week. Trade deadline is getting close, and I think you got to start seeing some movement if you want to take this to the next level. Also, I promised a 100-mile-an-hour pitch video of myself hitting one. I'm going to bring that to us next week, too. I can promise you that.
I once asked a woman if she wanted to take it to the next level, and she said, yeah, you go upstairs. I'll stay down here.
Sounds about right.
If you want to tweet us, what do we got to do?
Yeah,
Get to the
Fifth
third
Mascot.
level.
The third level. Fifth Mascot. Hashtag FIFTHMASCOT. We asked everybody in the Twitterverse last week what their favorite baseball movie. We had a little conversation exiting the show. The overwhelming majority of responses was take a guess. This is like
Field of
Let's Ask
Dreams.
America. And
Really?
what do you think? What do you think?
I think it's Major League. Come on.
You're way wrong. It's Field of Dreams. Absolutely.
Really?
Kevin
Wow.
Costner, hands down. Yes, everybody said Field of Dreams. My dad said Field of Dreams.
Yeah, okay.
Costner's dad said Field of Dreams.
Costner's dad said Field of
Well,
Dreams.
25th anniversary,
Ray.
right?
Baseball.
This
Coming
year,
up,
right now.
or,
Yeah, I
it's-
think we're amongst
Baseball.
it.
We're very,
Baseball.
yeah,
It's
that's
been
right.
around forever, Ray.
And man, you got that down
Darth
well.
Vader was in that movie.
He was.
Yeah.
All right, now I don't think that was in the movie. I think
There's my boy right there.
There is Major
There you
League.
go.
So,
No, I
so
meant Tom
There you go.
Berenger, is it?
well, right. I was a Pedro Serrano fan myself. The bobbleheads here used to be dressed in voodoo,
Well,
but we
okay.
changed that
I
up.
like Field of Dreams. It was a wonderful movie.
Yes.
Does anybody cry when they saw Field of Dreams at the end of it?
I mean, how can you not get a little teary-eyed when you're like 4 years old?
I did.
You know?
I did. I cry when I see The Natural.
I
cry when I see
yeah.
this
There's
thing
nothing
online.
wong with it. I
it's
don't-
great.
I see clips and I cry.
Yeah,
Field of
I
Dreams is
dial
a
up
good-
this
it's
show
a
on
very
demand.
well done. I cry when I
Bawling
watch
my
Bad
eyes
News
out.
Bear.
Anyway, so that's it for this week.
That's it for this.
There's
Well,
The
there's the
Natural.
natural.
Hey, there he
That's
is.
the other one we're talking about. That's a good one. Lots of cigarettes
Pops,
in that movie.
the Pops.
Yeah.
Remember
Absolutely.
Pops?
Yeah.
He was good.
Yeah, he was.
Remember the classic line from that? My life didn't turn out the way I thought it would.
You've watched these movies too.
No, I'm talking about myself.
All right, fair enough. Quick Corky update before we go.
Yes, okay.
Mr.
Yeah.
Miller is still on the DL. We've reached out to him, trying to see if he would reach back.
Yeah.
Haven't heard from him yet. He's nursing some injuries in the lower
Corky
body
he
area.
probably doesn't know how to work an internet.
Yeah,
Oh,
sure he does.
come on,
Corky
man.
has
God,
a
I don't
Twitter
work
account.
with
Corky.
Corky
You
has a
love
Twitter account. We've been trying
Yeah.
to talk to Corky. We're going to keep at that because we miss Corky. We want him back.
All right, tweet us.
Definitely.
We're
Tweet
on
us.
Twitter.
That's the one.
Hashtag
Nowhere else.
Fifth Mascot.
Except on WCPO.com.
Only on WCPO.com.
You know what? You're right. Thursdays.
For PJ O'Keefe and Mr. Satin, I'm Ken Ruth. Thank you for watching. We'll see you live next Thursday at 2 and only on WCPO.com.
If you build it.